If you're saying you're tracking based on the National Development Strategy, did that strategy come out at the same time that this second term came out, or was it from the previous term?
No, it was from the previous term.
All right, great. So I wanted to just revisit the 5 areas that you said you're tracking, and these are slightly different from the other 4 countries that we had. Could you just tell us what is the difference between Zimbabwe in terms of tracking and those other countries?
For us, governance has got corruption inside.
Right.
Yes,
Oh,
that's why we have 4.
Oh, okay. So
we merged governance and corruption because they stick to each other.
How do you verify the information that you get, and where do you get your information?
Okay, that's good. One of the interesting things is that we are noticed. Because at first we were checking the manifesto, and now they decided not to publish a manifesto.
Do you think that was because of you?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm positive.
Hello and welcome to the What If We Think Differently podcast. My name is Nonzegelo Nzula, and today we are focusing on the African Citizens Watch, a tool that is used to assess the promises that governments make to their people. Particularly today we are focusing on Zimbabwe, and I am joined by one of the researchers from CVO Institute, Matron Muchena. Matron, how are you?
I'm fantastic. Blessed to be here.
Oh, lovely. I love that. It's a pleasure to have you on the podcast today. Matron, we are focusing on the African Citizens Watch, and I think you might be better placed to describe for someone who's joining us for the first time, what is African Citizens Watch?
Okay, so African Citizens Watch is an independent platform that checks performance and effectiveness of African governments. We started in Zimbabwe and then expanded into the region. We are in Zambia, Malawi, South Africa, and Botswana. So we track performance of governments based on the manifesto promises that they give before elections, and we track since day one of being in office of the government.
Right. So you mentioned manifesto, but I am aware that Zimbabwe this time around, I think this is your second term or second time of you tracking. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So, but this time around, you're not using a manifesto. What are you using?
Okay, so this time around, our first cycle was from 2018 to 2023, where we were using the manifesto. But currently, on the August 2023 elections, the current government did not produce a manifesto, and we decided to track them based on the National Development Strategy, which is a 5-year term document for Zimbabwe from 2021 to 2025. The main focus for that document is towards an upper middle class economy for Zimbabwe. So from that, we are tracking 228 priorities that Zimbabwe is focusing on, which is spread across rural development, economy, governance, and social services.
So if you're saying you're tracking based on the National Development Strategy, did that strategy come out at the same time that this second term came out, or was it from the previous term?
No, it was from the previous term.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So just mention again how many promises there are that you're tracking.
228 promises.
228 promises. And this is our second year?
This is our second year.
Second year. And how is that looking, Matron?
Yeah. There's progress. Definitely, because this is the second term of office. So they definitely have got other projects from the first cycle that are still continuing. Okay. So the government is mostly focused on the economy, where they have so many promises around developing infrastructure or rehabilitating the infrastructure that is already there in terms of economy. And they also focus on domestic resource mobilization, which then comes into play, and the energy there is amazing, because we have seen, I think in 2024, they had reopened and renamed the Mtapa Investment Fund, which by now is 66 companies that are listed there, which means they are contributing to that fund, and it will be used especially for the rural development, infrastructure development, whatever the government deems necessary.
All right, great. So I wanted to just revisit the 5 areas that you said you're tracking. And these are slightly different from the other 4 countries that we had. Could you just tell us what is the difference between Zimbabwe in terms of tracking and those other countries?
I think the only difference is it's not really different. The only difference is rural development.
It's an additional thing.
Yes.
So does that mean you're tracking 6 things instead of 5?
No, we are tracking 4, actually.
You're tracking 4?
Yes.
The other ones have 5. How is it that
5.
you have 4?
For us, governance has got corruption inside.
Right.
Yes,
okay.
That's why we have 4.
Oh, okay.
So we merged governance and corruption because they speak to each other.
So does that mean for the other countries, governance and corruption don't necessarily speak to each other?
They do, but they're specific to corruption.
Or there's specific issues that pertain to corruption?
Exactly.
Okay, I understand. So let's take a look at these 4 areas that you've mentioned. Where are the bulk of government's promises? Where are they within that 4?
They are under economy, followed by corruption, followed by social services, then we go to governance and rural development.
Okay.
Yes.
So walk me through, I know you've spoken about infrastructure. So let's move away from that a little bit. What are the other elements that are under economy that the government has prioritized?
Yeah. The government has prioritized things like foreign direct investment. And we have seen recently that they've joined with Pomona, which is now focusing. So economy and social services somehow interlinked, because now when they're talking about foreign direct investment, this is an economy thing, but now the actual actions translate to social service because they are now giving services to the communities, but it's definitely under corruption, under economy.
Can we take a little break from there? You spoke about Pomona. For someone who doesn't live in Zimbabwe, actually in Harare, because I assume what you just spoke about is focused in Harare. What is that project?
Okay, so this project is for some time now in Zimbabwe, we've been struggling with waste collection. The local government has been struggling with waste collection. So the government is now engaged a private sector to offer the services so that people can healthy environments. We are exposed to sanitation, which is good for the communities. So this is where Pomona is coming in and taking over the initiative in foreign direct investment.
Oh, based on that?
Yes.
Okay. So we've spoken about infrastructure under economy, and we spoke about, what was the second thing?
Foreign direct investment.
Direct investment. Is there anything else that falls under economy that you think is important for us to highlight today?
Yes. I think what is also important, I spoke earlier about domestic resource mobilization. You know, there's been a particular promise on extending or enlarging the tax base in terms of collecting the resources. So one of the things that they've done now is to introduce a fast food tax. And that collection of the money, like I said, economy and social service work hand in hand. Now the collection of that money, when they've increased the tax base, is focused. Some of the money has been sent to health budgets, and now it's aiding the collection. There is aiding the health initiatives in the country.
That falls under the promises under economy, confirmed.
Yes.
Okay, so let's leap over and let's talk about the promises under social services. What has government prioritized within that sector?
Yeah, in social services now there's a promise, one particular promise that talks about affordable housing units. And the government has a mandate or a target of 1 million houses. Currently, by end of 2024, we had 700,000 housing units spread across all the 10 provinces in the country. So yeah, there's been progress there in terms of just building up housing units, flats that are affordable for the people of Zimbabwe.
All right. So that also speaks to infrastructure as well, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Okay, so what are the other social services that you'd like to highlight?
In terms of health, of course, the health health sector in Zimbabwe is struck by 2 initiatives. There's a private sector led, and then there's the state of the art. So in that, we're seeing a lot of buildings, hospitals that are being rehabilitated in the country. We are seeing training at micro level communities where they are training village health workers, where they are training telemedicine in some of the grassroots areas like Gokwe Senda, where they've done that. So yeah, there's work that is being done in terms of health delivery.
All right. So I know we may have kind of jumped the gun a little bit and didn't talk about how the tracker actually works in terms of how you collect your promises how you make sure that someone didn't make up a promise and then put it on the tracker, and also how you measure. I know you use the red, amber, green, the RAG, right, to show people what government has been able to do, where possibly some things are in progress and when some things haven't started at all. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so let's talk about that. How do you verify the information that you get, and where do you get your information?
Okay, that's good. Okay, so when you are tracking, now we are saying you cannot just get a news article from just one media house and run with it. So we verify. Normally in Zimbabwe, cabinet sits every Tuesday and they produce a minute document of the things that they've done, the progress that they've made. So when you get that, when you eventually get that report, we verify to see who else is talking about it. Where else has it been referenced? We talk of UNICEF, we talk of Relief Web, we talk of Herald, we talk of Daily News, several media houses. And then, so we have one main source and we have got two other sources to verify to see if this action was really done. They also, currently, they are running up, the parliament also has a question and answer session for National Assembly. So this is where they also talk about the progress. They are asking each other, what happens to this? What happens to this? In that alone, you can also then say, okay, I listened to this. Where else is it being referenced? The government also has got their, on WhatsApp, there's a channel called Hurumende Hub News. So there's a lot of information there. You can just take that information, verify it if it's referenced anywhere else, and then we run with it.
All right, great. So from the promises that are there, have there been any that have been modified?
Currently, the housing one has been modified.
Tell me more about that.
So their main, the initial one was they wanted to do 2 million housing units. So I think along the way they found, you know what, at first they didn't even have a ministry, a housing ministry. And then they established that and then modified to say, you know what, 2,000, I don't think it's realistic enough. And they are now shortened to 1 million.
All right, 1 million, which should be done by the end of their 5 years.
Yes.
Is that correct?
And we are in year 2.
And you were in year 2, so it's 3 years to go.
Yes.
Okay, that's quite interesting. So I know you have the privilege to then look at the other countries that are tracking as well, because the tracker started with Zimbabwe. And you then trained the other researchers that we've had on this platform around how you've done it, what they need to look out for, right? What are some of the lessons you've learned in your own tracking of Zimbabwe over the 2 terms, and then also then now engaging with other countries?
One of the interesting things is that we are noticed. Because at first we were tracking the manifesto, and now they decided not to publish a manifesto. But
do you think that was because of you?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm positive that was because of us.
Okay.
So we are noticed. That means we are doing important work. And also it helps them to take a step back and reflect to say, are we making really smart promises? Let's try again this time around. Okay, let's use this. Because this National Development Strategy is ending in 2025, which means they've already launched another one, the National Development Strategy 2, which is other priorities. It's not yet publicly available, but I'm sure it will be there.
All right. So you've gotten a little peek into what that kind of looks like.
Exactly.
Okay. Are there any promises that you are seeing continuing in the second one?
No, the
are you
second
free
one
to talk about
is not yet published.
It's not yet published.
Yes.
Okay.
But
No,
we are
I
looking out
understand.
for it.
Okay. I will be looking out as well. So one lesson that you've learned is that as time has passed, the tracker is being noticed.
Exactly.
People are paying attention. And when you talk about people paying attention, is it government that's paying attention, or is it citizens that are paying attention, or both?
I think it's both. One thing that is interesting is that our tracker now allows citizens to contribute to it. And where I'm sitting, I also have to see the promises, the actions that citizens are sending. Ours is then now to verify to see if, but that means also it's getting out there. Another interesting feature on our tracker now is submit your story. So we are saying, what has government done in your
you tell us.
You tell us what they have done. You give us links, we verify that, but it's coming from the communities. It's coming from the citizens. So it means we have done this because we have seen people talking about it. So we are noticed across the globe.
Does that engagement translate to other countries?
It does.
You're talking about people who have submitted their experiences and what government has done for them. Is that only in Zimbabwe, or does that apply to Zambia, Botswana, Malawi? Who did I miss out?
Zambia, South Africa.
South Africa, yes.
Okay, for South Africa, I've not seen stories, but I've seen actions where citizens have submitted actions. In Zambia, interestingly, there are stories actually where people are saying, you know what, the government has done this in my community, and this is where I am. They send pictures, they send their stories. And soon enough, we'll be publishing those on our tracker.
That is going to be such an interesting thing to see. I love the aspect that you, as a citizen watching from wherever, if your country is on this tracker, you can engage with it. Submit your story, submit what your government has been able to do within your community, and tell us and share it with us. So you can find that at www.africancitizenswatch.org. And I'll give that address again as we close this episode, but not just yet. So, Matron, what are your parting shots? And I want you to include, as you think about that, what you want the tracker to influence within Zimbabwe. What do you want the big picture to be for the tracker?
I think for me, it's definitely citizens. At CVO, we believe that democracy doesn't end at the ballot box. We need an assessment. We need to hold someone accountable. Let's have those difficult conversations. Let's ask those hard questions to say, you promised this, how far are we? Where are we going? What next should be done? I think the tracker gives us a way to start a conversations with office holders. Let's hold them accountable. Let's vote based on evidence that is there, not just assumptions. Let's just interact with the data, interact with the platform. It gives you a lot of information that is not available out there, because the narratives out there is a different story on the actual things on the ground.
And this particular narrative that the tracker then gives is one that is based on data, on empirical evidence. It's not based on people's emotions.
No.
It's not based on people's opinions.
Not even.
It is based on what is actually on the ground. And you spoke about citizens. How would you want government to engage with this?
I think let's take this as a learning tool. Let's take this as a dashboard to the governments. See where you need to focus your energies on. Just take a moment to reflect back and say, this is not targeted at anyone. It's across African countries. It's not witch hunting. We're just saying, this is what you promised. This is what you've delivered. So what needs to be done? Even if you're given another term in office, you can look at those promises that have not started and add them and continue and focus your energy. When you're making now a budget allocations, which one is lagging behind? Where do we need to increase the funds and things like that?
Lovely. I think you've put that very well, Matron. Matron, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
So that was Zim Citizens Watch, which is part of the African Citizens Watch. So if you would like to engage with this tool, we have created the platform. You can bring your input at www.africancitizenswatch.org, and you can pick the country that you would like to engage in, and maybe take time to learn about other countries. What promises have their governments made? What is going on there? Thank you for joining us. My name is Nonzigela Lonzula, and we will see you again soon. Goodbye for now.